Can you hear my voice?
Yeah. I
Clear?
can hear you clearly, yeah.
Okay, hello everybody. Good evening, everyone. How are you today? I hope you're doing well.
I'm fine.
Okay. Okay, thank you for your time and welcome to JLC Networks webinar. Much appreciated for your join. Webinar is one of JLC Network's regular events every Thursday night with any different topics. Topics for tonight is success with Red Hat certification. Wow, seems quite interesting, yeah. So if you have any questions during webinar, you may drop the message in the chat box or just unmute yourself and ask question directly. Let me introduce to you to speaker tonight, Mas Ahmad Mardiansyah. He is a co-founder of GLC Networks. He is also a trainer, mentor, and consultant for IT and ISP. Are you ready with the slide, Mas Ahmad?
Okay, we can start now.
Okay, let's get started. Thank you and enjoy the webinar.
Right, thank you, admin. Okay, good night, everyone. Welcome for a new member here. For those who are just joined the webinar, thank you and welcome to the webinar. So tonight, we'll be talking about the certification, one famous certification that is from Red Hat. My name is Ahmad Mardiansyah and I'm from GLC Networks. About the agenda, tonight we'll be talking about these things. We're talking about the Linux distributions because the certification that we are talking about here is about the Linux certification. Okay, and then Linux distributions. Also, we'll be talking specifically about the Red Hat itself. Yeah. Okay. Right, about the GLC. GLC is Garda Lintas Cakrawala. We are based in Bandung. Our areas are training and IT consulting. We're certified partner for MikroTik, Ubiquiti, and Linux. We also have a product named GLC Radius Manager. It's a software where you can manage your own ISP. Okay, so that software includes billing, where you can charge and then record all the payments and billing. We also have regular events like what we are doing now, which is every week on Thursday night. This is me. My name is Achmad Mardiansyah, and I'm based in Bandung. Okay. I've been using Linux since 1999. Yeah, so it was a long time ago. Using MikroTik since 2007, Ubiquiti, and then I got the trainer certification from MikroTik and become a consultant, and then got project from several countries. I have also profile on LinkedIn. If you have LinkedIn, and then we can connect. I would be very happy if I connect to you guys. Right. Yeah, about past experiences. Mostly related to networking and system administration. So mostly we are using Linux based. Actually, MikroTik is also Linux based. We also do things like network integrations, billing integration, Radius Manager, updating, upgrading the current configuration of network. So from bridge network to the router network. So it means that we have to redesign the network, like IP address allocations, and then set up routing, and then so on and so forth. From the system administration, often, we also set up a server, Linux-based server, where we deploy database server, email server, FTP, and web server. Also, we do a kind of automations for for those server. Okay. Right. So that was about the past projects, and then the webinar itself is done every week, every Thursday evening. Okay. I got lots of messages here in the group chat. Thank you very much. Okay. So if you don't mind, um, you can introduce yourself. Okay. Yeah. So just tell me where you're from, your background. So I will be very happy if you introduce yourself to everybody here. Okay. Right. Yeah, that was about the webinar. So webinar mostly, yeah, related to topics about networking, operating system. I mean, not operating system. I mean, system administration and programming. Okay. So basically, uh, those are things that we are doing. So we would like to share our experience with you guys. About yourself. Yeah, I can see. Thank you for introducing yourself here. I can see some of you are Philippines and then Africans from any countries. The countries that I
Pakistan,
didn't
maybe?
mention. Yeah, Pakistan. Okay, okay. Any more countries? Okay. Thank you very much. You're from Indonesia. From Medan, okay, yeah. Any countries out of Indonesia? Oh, from Kosovo. Okay, welcome. Okay, so I would like to know which of the farthest country that already joined this webinar. Okay, I think Kosovo is the farthest, together with the from Africa. I don't know because Africa is quite big. So if you don't mind, you can inform which Africa are you. I was in Tanzania, in Senegal, and Congo. So I don't know which Africa are you from. Okay, to the east. Okay, people from Philippines. Thank you very much for coming. Oh, okay, you're from Congo as well. Right. Okay. Thank you. Comment ça va? Ça va bien? Yeah, I'm practicing my French language. Yes, because everybody is speaking French in the Congo and Senegal. Right. Kinshasa is still okay, right? Mhm. Oh, okay. Somebody from Malaysia, uh, member from Philippines. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for coming. Okay, let's continue with the topics. Okay, so first we talk about the Linux distribution, aka distro. So, as maybe most of you already know, Linux, when we talk about Linux, is just a kernel. Well, how kernel looks like? Kernel is a core of operating system, and then there is no a GUI version of a kernel. Okay, so kernel is like a heart in every human body. So you cannot see it directly, but it's still there. Okay, so you believe that if human is alive, and then there must be a heart that is beating every second. Okay, uh, as long as the human is not dead. Okay, so that's the kernel. So the kernel is here in this block. Okay, the purpose of the kernel is to manage the hardware. Here's the hardware, and then we are managing, you are accessing the hardware through the Linux kernel. So inside the kernel, we have a driver and modules. We have a file system, protocol sockets. Those are low-level things, yeah, that provided by kernel in order to access the computer hardware. Okay, so that's so kernel is very important. So there is no operating system without kernel, right? But the kernel only is not a complete operating system. Okay, So because what people are using is the application, right? Not the kernel. Okay, kernel is one step, but the next step is the application. Okay, so what are the applications? So this is, for example, the GUI, Genome, KDE. You can use Microsoft Office there. You can use Wine to emulate Windows software. You have another application for LAMP, for example, Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP here. And then you have network services like SSH, INET. Okay, below of them, you have GCC and then core utilities like basic library of those a basic library that is required by those uh, applications. Okay, so an operating system requires application. So therefore, some people have an initiative to bundle the kernel plus tools, actually plus app here, and then it will become distribution. So every person, every human has their own, because uh, so we can call it just like a packaging, okay? Packaging, okay, so you're packaging the kernel and then together with the tools, and then that will become a distribution. So because the distribution is not a like a mathematical, uh, yeah, it's not like 1 plus 1 equals to 2. So it's not rigid like that. The way people packaging the kernel plus the tools is varied. Okay, the way people set up the init script is also different. Okay, so that's why there are so many distribution of Linux. Okay, so distribution means Linux kernel plus tools. So that is called distribution. Okay. Look, if you have any questions, and then you can just type the question in the group chat, okay? Okay, so Linux was invented in 1991 here, and not long after that, there are many distributions available in the market. One distribution that is still exists up to today are the Slackware. Okay, here's the Slackware. It still exists up to now. I use Slackware also in 2000. At that time, it was a Slackware 8. Yeah. Also here Debian. Okay. Debian is one of my favorite distro. If nobody is requesting, if my client is not requesting a particular distribution, and then I will be using Debian. So Debian was done many years, is already running many years up to now. But in 2004, it has a fork to Ubuntu. So Ubuntu is a Debian-based distribution. So most of the tools are from Debian, but they have made their own customizations for Ubuntu. For example, the things that related to X means displayed Windows Manager. Okay, so Ubuntu has their own. Also, since Ubuntu 18.04, you can see there is a change on Ubuntu when we talk about the configuration of networking. So Debian is still using etc interfaces file, but Ubuntu is using something different. It's called NetPlan, okay, which is not compatible with the Debian. Yeah, so it was Ubuntu. Well, today we're talking about Red Hat, right? So not Ubuntu, even though I like them. Why I like Ubuntu or Debian? Because they can be upgraded. Yeah, I mean, upgrade the version from, for example, Debian 9 to Debian 10 is flawless. Okay, you just send several commands. It will download packages, install them, and then you just reboot, and then your version is upgraded. As simple as that. Okay. And then I work on telco industry in in several countries, and then they are not using Debian or Ubuntu. Okay, most of them are using Red Hat or SUSE. Okay, especially SUSE Enterprise, SUSE Linux Enterprise here as less. Okay, yeah, some vendors they're using Red Hat. Okay, so most likely these two vendors, Red Hat and SUSE Enterprise, are used for enterprise class. Okay. Uh, yeah. Uh, Next, about the certification, right? So Linux has lots of distributions. Linux, and then every distribution has their own way for managing their Linux distribution. For example, the way you put the configuration files. Okay, for example, for Red Hat base, it's called etc httpd. But for Debian, the configuration file for Apache is etc Apache. Okay, so you can see from the configuration point of view, it's different. Okay, also other stuff. So that's why there are several ways for managing the distribution. And then, well, basically they are using the same kernel, but the way they packaging it is different. So that's why there is a need for certification. Okay. Why do we need that? Because we need to verify your knowledge of how you manage your Linux operating system. And then it's easier for job market. you know, I mean, uh, one primary reason for having a certification is for related to job security, right? You want to get a better job. In order to get a better job, you have to have a better skill. And then how do you prove your skill is by having a certification here. Okay, so it is easier for employer that okay, so I have I have a requirement. I have, yeah, I mean, I have a requirement that I need one system administrations. What will be the spec of the worker here? Okay, the worker has to be able to install, has to be able to copy files, for example, install a web server, install a database server, and so on and so forth. Okay, so if you have a certification, and then it's easier. Okay, so I'm looking for an employee that has these qualifications, aka certifications. Okay, but remember, the certificate that we talk about here is certificate of competency. Okay, certificate of competency. It means that there will be an exam in order to get the competency proven. Okay, so you have to pay, usually it's paid, you have to pay an amount of money to the testing center, and then you'll be given a test. When you pass the test, you'll get the certification. Okay, and then of course with the um, modern modern what is it applications, I mean, certificate management system, you can verify your certificate online. Okay, so you don't have to print them and then give them to the employee. You can just give the employee, okay, this is my certificate number, and then if you want to verify that the certificate is really a real certificate, not a fake one, and then still exists, I mean, still valid, you can give the certificate code. Okay, so that was the certificate of competency. So, which is different than certificate of attendance, which is, yeah, for some extent, many people are wanting it. Yeah. So certificate attendance is just a certificate that showing you that, okay, you already attend an event. That's all. uh, do you really understand what they are saying? It's not mentioned in the certificate of attendance. So it's two different things. Okay. So certificate of competency and then certificate of attendance. Okay. The things that we are talking about tonight is the certificate of competency. So another question. Uh, so whose organization that provides certifications? Well, because Linux is community driven. So it's not like Oracle, it's not like SAP, it's not like many big vendors out there. So yeah, there are several organizations that provide certification for Linux. Okay. One of them is LPI, the Linux Professional Institute. So most of their, this is the easiest. I mean, you don't have to, I mean, as far as if I'm not mistaken, you can just go to person view and then you reserve a place and then you do the certification. So it's online. So yeah, it's very, very, very easy to get to get a seat, because as long as you pay and then the schedule is matched, and then you just go to the testing center, uh, uh, answering questions. Some of them are multiple choice, maybe most of them, and then after that you're pass or not. Okay. Other organization is CompTIA Linux Plus. Okay, it's also multiple choice. Other organization is Oracle Linux. You know, Oracle is not only selling the database, but they also have their own version of operating system, which is Linux based. They also have Solaris operating system. Okay. So I took this certification also many years ago. Yeah, it's Unix operating system, and then they have a very cool features, which is tried to adopted by Linux. For example, FMS, the Facility Management System, ZFS, the zettabyte file system. Okay, and then they have a dtrace for probing the system call if you want to have a debugging. Okay, so Solaris have very cool features. Okay, and then this features is trying to be created on other operating systems like Linux or others. Some of the features of Solaris, because it was open source in 2006, I think. Yeah, they opened their source code, is already adopted to FreeBSD. So features like dtrace and ZFS, yeah, it's already available on FreeBSD. Next is you can choose Red Hat as a certificate provider. Well, man, this one is different, okay, because it's 100% practice, no multiple choice, and then it's offline. So, so it's offline. It means that you go to testing center, you'll be given a station, exam station, and then on that you'll be doing the doing the exam by yourself. Okay, so Red Hat is quite tough. Okay, so this one is I think it's a good quality. Yeah, because it's performance based. We call it performance based. So it's not based on a multiple choice. Yeah, so you'll be given tasks. Okay, several tasks, maybe 20 or 15. Okay, around that, and then you have to finish those tasks. We talk about the exam later. Okay, there will be a slide dedicated for it. Other alternative, like what I did, was from Linux Foundation. The Linux Foundation is not a distribution. Linux Foundation, as the name suggests, is an organization that funding Linux development. So Linux is a kernel, and then the kernel needs to be developed in order to adopt the IT technologies. Okay, so a new hardware is coming, and then we need to write drivers for those hardwares, and then those hardwares drivers needs to be put somewhere in the kernel. Okay, so that's why Linux Foundation is doing that kind of things. It also provides certifications, also performance-based. Okay, no multiple choice. Sorry, guys. And then the good thing here is that can be done online. Okay, so when you apply Linux Foundation exam, they'll be asking you to pick a room, empty room, no mirror, uh, no nothing, no pictures, no text, no nothing. So it has to be an empty room, and then they will check the videos. Okay, can you see? Can I see your floor, your wall, your what is it? Ceiling. Okay, so the proctor is always checking your webcam. Okay, so that was Linux Foundations, and then yeah, I think at that time when I took Linux Foundation, maybe in 2017, 2018, perhaps, or maybe before that, I was the first person from Indonesia who passed the Linux Foundation exam. Yeah, because the exam is quite new. Not so many people are using it. Okay, I mean not using. I mean not aware of that. The Linux Foundation. Right. Okay. Oh, I have lots of chat here. Some of them are okay. Talking about favorite distro. Yeah. Well, I use CentOS. CentOS. Yes. Yeah. But if there is no requirements, then I will pick Debian. If not, and then I will use Ubuntu, and then not, I will use CentOS. Red Hat Remote Exam is available now. Well, I'm not sure, because if you want to attend Red Hat examination, you have to go to testing center. Okay, so when I took my Red Hat certification, it was in 2007. At the time, it was Red Hat 5. Okay, Red Hat 5. I took it offline, and then we were testing based on the physical PC. So we have a PC, and then we are working on the PC, physical PC. So in the beginning, so something happened in the PC, you have to fix it in 1 hour. Okay, this is very very I mean challenging situation. Okay, so within 1 hour you have to troubleshoot many things. Okay, so it was in 2007 when I took my first Red Hat certification exam. At the time, the name was RHCT, Red Hat Certified Technician. And later on, they changed the name into RHCSA, so Red Hat Certified System Admin. Okay, so how much is the Red Hat exam cost? Well, I think it depends on the country. Okay, so every country has a different price. I think, yeah. Yeah, mostly several hundreds dollar. Okay, and then okay, another question. You have YouTube channel? Yes, we do have. And then how to remote the exam? You mean the remote exam? I mean you have to contact the Linux Foundation. Okay. Right. So now we talk about the Red Hat Linux. So our favorite topic today. So Red Hat. So let's talk about Red Hat. Okay, Red Hat is one of early distro that still exists up to today. Now Red Hat is not alone. It's been bought by IBM. Maybe they change the name later on, IBM Red Hat or whatever, because that's what the big company do, right? So for example, Kawasaki and Bajaj becomes Kawasaki Bajaj, and then Sony and Ericsson, they merge, become Sony Ericsson, and then Nokia and Siemens merge, become Nokia Siemens. I don't know for the IBM. I think IBM, they're not merged, but they just buy the Red Hat. And then up to now, they still keep the name Red Hat. I don't know when they are changed. Maybe they change the name in the futures. I don't know. The original name is Red Hat Linux, okay, and then it's still there up to version 9. Okay, and now the name is not now. I mean, since they changed the um, since they stopped the Red Hat Linux, okay, Red Hat Linux, I think they stopped it in 2001. Okay, so after 2001, the name becomes Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Okay. Um, so, sorry, I don't understand what you're saying. You're asking about the pictures. Can anybody see the slide here? No? So, sorry. Okay, you can see it, no problem. Okay, because here somebody is asking about the picture of admin. Well, I don't know. So, as oh, face. Well, I just turned off my camera here because I want to save the bandwidth. Yeah. Okay. How are you? Ahmad is also lecturer. Yes, I'm teaching in a university. Right. Correct. Next is yeah. Okay. So where were we? Yeah. Okay. After 2000, since 2010, 2001, they call it REL. Okay, REL. That's how you pronounce it. REL. Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Okay, there is no ordinary Red Hat, but now it becomes Red Hat Enterprise Linux, which means they're just focusing on enterprise market. Okay. Well, what about the uh, community versions? So that's why after they create RHEL, and then they have they change the development style. Okay, so they created a distro called Fedora, and then this is a bleeding edge testing a new feature. So if you use Fedora, and then you'll be using a latest features, or yeah, I mean latest technology of Linux Red Hat. Okay, so they're testing. You are the tester, and then yeah. After the test, and then fixing some bugs, and then they put into the stable version, which is the CentOS or RHEL. Okay, so the requirements for Linux distribution is you have to provide, because it's open source, you have to provide the source code. Okay, so even though you already compile here, so it's a compiled version. Okay, RHEL is a compiled version. So you have a source code, you compile, and then you have a binary one. And then because you have the binary, you can put license, you can sell the binary, but you have to provide the source code. So community take the source code and then create a new vendor, new distro called CentOS. Okay, CentOS means Community Enterprise Operating System. So it's a community version of Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Unfortunately, they Red Hat has just announced, many weeks ago, not even 1 year, just a few weeks ago, they said that the community version of RHEL, which is CentOS, will be end of life in December 2021. Previously, the end of life, CentOS 8 was released, I think, in 2019. And usually every time CentOS release, it can last for 7 or 8 or 10 years, okay? But they said end of life 2001, and after that is rolling release. So rolling release, it means that there is no CentOS 5, CentOS 7, CentOS 8, CentOS 9. So there is no point release. Okay, we call it point release. So there is always a rolling release. So it's like Arch Linux, or yeah, it's like Arch Linux. It's always rolling release using the latest technology. So it means that there is no CentOS anymore. So that's what they plan. So perhaps you need to think of the alternative. And not long after that, it's quite funny. Not long after the announcement of end of life of CentOS, which is this year, Red Hat says that you are free to use Red Hat Enterprise Linux up to 16 core. Okay, so it's free. As long as you have less than 16 core, you can use Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Okay, so that was about Red Hat Linux. Now, our favorite topic for tonight, the certifications. Yeah. Okay, so I have some comments here on group chat. Blah, 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 blah. Can we get e-certificate for certification? Yes, for attendance, you can contact admin. How to get the Red Hat certification? You have to contact the Red Hat representative in your country. Okay, and then you have to attend, you have to go to this testing center. You have to book for appointment and then go there and then do the certification. As simple as that. Can we get certification for free? You mean Red Hat certification? No, unfortunately, you have to pay for that. Can you share presentation files? Yes, I'll put the presentation files on SlideShare. And how many days before we get the certificate? You mean Red Hat certificates? Yeah, the certification itself is only 3 hours. Okay, and then you have to wait. Oh, okay. Okay, let's talk about the certification part first. So hopefully you can see the slide here. Can you read the text, because perhaps for some people is quite unclear. Okay, I will read it to you. Okay, so here are the tracks. Okay, here are the tracks of Red Hat certification. Okay, so what I'm drawing here, I put in the box, is the training. Okay, and then after that, you will go to exam. Perhaps I'll be using other colors. Okay, so this is the training. Okay, the training for you to attend. Okay, do you have to attend the training? No. Okay, you can just directly go to the exam. Okay, so this is the exam. This is the important part. If you pass, okay, and then you will get a certificate here. So the red one here is the certificate of competency. So in the beginning, this is RHCSA. RHCSA. Okay. After RHCSA, and then you can take another training. Here's the training. and then after the training, you take the exam. Okay, and then you are certified for RHCE. So that's another level for certification. And after that, you will have specializations like Ansible, other certifications like Docker or other stuff. Okay. Here's another track of if you have if you already have Linux experience. Okay. You can just take a rapid track uh, of rapid track for the course. So on the left hand side here, so the training is longer because we assume that you don't have any you don't have any uh, you don't have any knowledge for Linux. Okay, so this is for newbie. Okay, so newbie. Okay, let me take another color. Maybe green. Okay, so this is for newbie. Okay, so this is not newbie. Okay, so for some Linux knowledge. Okay, Linux knowledge, and then you take the exam. You get the certification here, and then you'll get a training. Okay, and then get the exam, and then you're certified. Okay, here you already have existing. You already have RHCSA. Okay, and then you just go to RHCE. Okay, and then take the automation for Ansible, and then here's another certificate for specialists. Okay, so hopefully that explained the part of Red Hat certification. So this is for newbie. Okay, so let me recap. So this is for newbie, and this is for if you already have some Linux knowledge here. Okay, and this is if you already have Red Hat certificate here. Okay, so hopefully it's clear. Okay, I cannot pay for certificates, so goodbye. Okay, I'm really sorry for that. Okay, unfortunately, yeah. Okay, I think one way to do that is just you can find a sponsor, right? So yeah, find a sponsor. So if you pass, and then you will work for them for how many years, whatever. Yeah. The next, I have eligibility for certification purchase in December. Still not sure to take it. Okay. well, just practice. Okay, practice hard. Next is about the exam itself. Okay, so this is the first exam you have to take for Red Hat. Okay, which is the RHCSA. So RHCSA. So it's 3 hours exam. Okay. Wow, that is a long exam. So previously, if you took Cisco, if you took MicroTech exam, it's not 3 hours. Okay, but RHCSA is 3 hours, and is 3 hours enough? If you prepare well, it's enough. If you're not prepared well, it's not enough. Okay, no multiple choice. Okay, I'm telling you, no multiple choice. It's 100% practice, aka performance based. So you'll be given a task 1, task 2, task 3, task 4, and then those tasks are related to each other. Okay, so you have task 1, yeah, task 2, task 3, task 4, task 5. Unfortunately, guys, so this task has to be done sequentially. Okay, so for example, if you want to just jump to number 5, no. So, so if you want to do number 5, the first 4 needs to be done. So that's why, yeah, it's a little bit tricky here. And during the exam, you'll be accessing a virtual machine. Okay, you'll be given a physical PC, and then inside the PC, there'll be a virtual machine where you do configurations, you do the tasks. Okay, but previously, when I took my Red Hat certification for the first time in 2007, at the time it was Red Hat 5. Okay, sorry, Red Hat RHCT. Okay, at the time the name was RHCT. It was a physical machine. There is no virtual machine inside. Okay, and then the result, after you finish your certification day, you have to wait maximum of 3 days, and then yeah, you will get an email which is saying the result of your your certification results. Okay, and then unfortunately there is no internet access. Okay, and then yeah, even though the result will be sent to the headquarters of Red Hat, okay, by the proctor, but you're not allowed to access the internet during the exam. You are allowed to check the manual page, okay, if you forgot something, but please do not learn during the exam. Yeah, you have to be proficient before the exam, okay, not during the exam. You study before the exam. Well, exam objective, we can click in here. Okay, if you want to see the details, okay. Okay, I will share my whole screen. Okay, hopefully you can see it. Yeah. So, sorry guys, can you please stop your video because it's consuming bandwidth? Yeah. Okay, let me stop your video. Okay. Right, so this is the exam objective of RHCSA. If you go to this, maybe I will share here in the group chat, okay? Okay, so those are exam objective, okay? So first, okay, you need to understand the essential tools, okay? Because there will be a task that requires this, okay? Shell prompt, input output redirection, aka file descriptor, okay? You need to understand grep and then regex, regular expressions. Login using SSH, yes. And then check in the multi-target user. So this is aka like a run level in the beginning. In the previously it's called run level. Okay, and then you need to do archiving, compressing, you know, tar, gzip, bzip2, create in text files, delete, copy, move. So these are the fundamental things, you know, creating a hard link and soft link. Okay, and then permission, see, permission RWX, and then checking read, and then documentation. Okay, so those are the basic stuff. After that, they will ask you to, in some, one of the objectives is to set up a simple script. Okay, so you need to understand how you code. I mean, if you don't, I mean, look, guys, many people, many network engineer and then system engineer, sysadmin, they choose that the job, the sysadmin and the network admin, because they don't like programming, right? Okay, so just be honest with me. So some people, they don't like programming, so that's why they become the system administrator or network administrator. Why? Because I mean, you just type a command, You just click here and there, right? Yeah. So that's one reason. Unfortunately, here they are testing your coding skill. Okay. I mean, it's not like a coding like a Python where you have to create a function. Here you are required to set up a shell script. Sometimes you are required with loop. Okay, so that's why for or while, and then script input $1, $2, $3, exit code, and then processing shell commands output, and then combine it with the with other stuff. Okay, so that's the next topics topic about the shell script. And then they'll be asking you about the operating running system, how you understand how you understand the boot process. Okay, and then they ask you how to boot, reboot, shut down. Okay, and then they're asking you things like different targets. So now it's called targets. Previously it was run level, because now we are using system D. So there is a big change from Red Hat 6 to Red Hat 7. Okay, Red Hat 6 to Red Hat 7. And then that one is system D. Okay, so interrupt the boot process because sometimes they're asking you to modify some parameters during the boot execution. Also checking the process, okay, scheduling, and then tuning profiles, log files and journals, start top network services, for example, transfer files between system, okay, SCP, okay, and then as an administrator, you must be familiar with managing the local storage, right? If you have a new hard disk, okay, and then you have to set up partitions here, okay. Either it's a DOS or GPT label, and then you'll be using LVM, okay, logical volume manager, which consists of physical volume, volume group, or logical volume. And then you should be able to mount the file system either with the original address of the device or using the UUID. Okay. Okay, and then after you create, and then sometimes we are required to modify the volumes because we are using LVM, and then it is easier for us because it gives us more flexibility for managing our partition, because it's logical partition, not physical partition. Okay, so physical partitions start from sector, from this sector to that sector, but for LVM it's much more flexible. Okay. Right. If I have hands-on about Red Hat, yeah, practical. Okay. So, yeah, I thought somebody is talking about the having a question here. Okay, and then after you do partitions, on top of the partition is the file system. So you need to be able to mount, unmount for various file system. Okay, and then mount and mount the NFS, the network file system. So previously it was a local file system, okay, which is based on storage, local storage like hard disk. But here, other computer is sharing the files through the network, and then the technology that they are using is NFS. And then extend logical volumes, set up a group ID, okay, for collaboration. So yeah, So for example, if you have several user, okay, so you are required to set up a user, yeah. So user 1, user 2, okay, and then yeah, yeah, based on the requirement here. So this user should be put into a group that is defined by by the task. Okay. Sometimes it's require compressions and then layered storage like LVM. Okay. Diagnose and correct file permission problems. Okay. Oh, lots of things, eh? And then configuring the system, for example, cron, okay, that is for scheduling, yeah, and start and stop service. Make sure they start automatically at boot, okay. Set up specific targets, set up a time service, okay, and then install packages, okay, package from Red Hat network or repository. Package module stream, modify bootloader parameters. Okay. For example, if you want to have a, for example, if you want to reset a root password, if you forgot the root password, how do you do? Okay. Okay, so you have to configure basic networking, IPv4 and IPv6, man. See. Hostname resolution, which is the DNS. Okay, how do you define the DNS? Set up the network-based service, and don't forget to set up the firewall. Okay, so this is the most important thing. Yeah, so because sometimes they, I mean, you are required to do firewall. I mean, a firewall configuration that requires to block this IP address, um, that IP address, allow this IP address, that IP address, so things like that. Okay, that's the firewall. Okay, firewall things. So actually, when you attend the training, so they provide you exercise that is similar, not similar. I mean, that not exactly the same. That has a same concept like the exam. Okay, so that's why it is. I mean, Red Hat encourage you. I mean, recommend you to take their training. Okay. Yeah, because in the training, because the training itself, I think, is a good quality. So I'm teaching Red Hat as well. And then this is much more practical. Okay, it's not like a bunch of theories. Okay, it's much more practical. And then you are required to set up a user and groups. Okay, and then this also favorite. Okay, and all which makes headache. Even though if you're not doing the certification, the SE Linux things. Okay, so you have a security, and then here's the SE Linux. You have to set up SE Linux context and set up the policy for SE Linux. Okay, and then container. Okay, so now they changed the specification of container. The specification of RHCSA. Okay, they're adding container in RHCSA. So just prepare for that. Okay, so I think that's all when we talk about the checklist of RHCSA. And then, is there any slides here? Oh, okay, some tips. Well, better not use Microsoft-based email for exam. So before exam, you are required to register an account, okay? And then the account is based on email. And then I really encourage you not to use Microsoft-based email because sometimes the notification is not arrived. I don't know what's going on with Microsoft, but we have lots of case where the notification is not arrived today to the participants. Okay. Next tip is practice well. Okay, practice again and again. Make sure you are already familiar with the command, with the task, and then you are able to do the task without looking at the uh, lab manual. Okay. You understand what you're doing, not just memorizing the command. Okay. Before exam, get enough sleep and eat. Okay. It's important. And then some is make sure the configuration persists after the reboot, because sometimes when you configure something, it's just running on the fly. When you restart, and then it's just gone. Okay, so just make sure that yeah, the configuration that you have done is there. Okay, so yeah, it still persists after the reboot. Anything else? Oh, okay, but I don't think we can do live practice because we're already running out of time now. So it's 20:36 now. Oh, okay, I got somebody share tips for RHCSA. Okay, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Use minus minus helps. Okay, yeah, that one helps. But you know, again, as I mentioned, do not study. I think I have to put that also here. Okay, so another tips. Okay, tips very important. Do not study in during exam. Okay, you read the manual. Okay, no, don't do that. Not enough time. Okay, not enough time. Okay, do not study during exam. Sorry, my handwriting is not good. During exam. Okay, do not study during the exam. Okay, guys, so I think that's all. That's all I can share for tonight. Okay, I don't think we have a live practice here. Okay, if you are interested, we have also Red Hat based training, also LFCE. So actually, we are doing two things. We are doing Red Hat base, and then we are doing Red Hat certification, and then also LF. LF means Linux Foundation. Okay, so the certification is new. Both of them are pay. You have to pay. And then yeah. But the good thing is for LF is you can do certification online. You don't have to come to the testing center, so you can do it from your own house. Okay. So if you're interested, again, please come to our training. Okay. We have our own materials. Okay. So yeah, we develop our own materials for you to take to prepare you for the exam. Okay. Okay, so this is end of slides. I would like to say thank you very much for your attention. And then if you don't mind, please submit the feedback, like our Facebook page. Okay, slide will be available on SlideShare. Recording will be available on YouTube on our channel. And then stay tuned with our schedule. Also, we have a little bit update regarding with our notifications. In the future, our notification will be based on the what is it? Will be based on the Google Groups. Okay, so for those who already enroll, I mean already sign up for webinar, we will invite you to the Google Groups. Okay. And then all notification will be based on the group GLC webinar. Okay, any questions? Okay, I have a question. Somebody put question in the group chat. Sample questions. No, I'm not allowed to say something related to the question. Okay, so it's not allowed. Okay, enough time. Next class. Okay, no worries. Okay, just contact admin. We'll have a next class if you want to prepare yourself to the RHCSA exam. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So,
okay,
guys,
yeah.
Yes, thank you very much for your attendance. We hope this webinar will give you a good benefit and also fulfill your expectation. So those who want to stick with the examination, so just do more practice. And once you are ready, then apply. Then we hope that you get a good result on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so please submit your feedback because your feedback is really important to us. If you have any suggestion about the next webinar topic, can you please mention there? And then also follow our social media, see our event in our website, and join our Telegram community. So can you turn on your video for the last request? We can take picture together.
Oh yeah, it's a picture time here, photo session.
Picture time here.
Please turn on.
As a documentation.
Okay, guys, please turn on
Ready?
please turn on your camera.
With a smile face, please.
Smile face.
We are not in the.
Great.
Okay, maybe thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
All right. Have you done?
Okay, wait a moment. So I need to change the gallery view. So guys, could you please turn on your camera, please?
The video and then thumbs up.
Yeah, okay.
One.
Let's take 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Smile.
Smile. 1, 2, 3. Smile.
All right.
Okay.
More.
I think that's all, admin. Anything else?
Okay. So thank you very much, guys. See you on the next week, next event, next webinar. Good evening. Bye.
Thank you and bye. Have a nice day. Enjoy the evening.